Athletes, let's talk today about a real important principle, and that is the concept of the D.N.F. The did not finish. It is a title that no athlete wants on their resume. It is something that really kind of goes down into the deep corners of your psyche and in your heart. And when we fail to finish what we started and we're slapped with a did not finish, man, the turmoil and the pain and the headache and the emotions that come along with that can run pretty deep. So think about it this way. At any race, any event that has a time allotted experience, you have a certain amount of time to get from point A to point B, which is start to finish. Now we talk a little bit about the DNS, did not start, and we'll leave that for another day. Today we're gonna talk about the DNF because of what it means. Now many times throughout your experience of running or therapy, if you're in treatment for addiction recovery, there are gonna be things that kind of come out of nowhere that's gonna slow you down, hinder you, and maybe even doubt the reasons why you're racing or even experiencing a desire to get clean in the first place. Now think about it in terms of what it does to you. A did not finish means that you're being pulled off that course, that you are not able to finish that race or that event because something went wrong. More often than not, it's about an injury or about an unforeseen experience that you're going through that really kind of puts you to your breaking point. And a DNF kind of ruins the whole event because what happens is once you leave that race course, let's say extreme fatigue, maybe even some injury. You know, a lot of times you're thinking in your head, man, I could have finished this, I should have finished this. And more often than not, you have to wait a whole year for that event to come back around on the calendar, get back into it to prove to yourself that you can conquer whatever goal that was that you set. But a DNF kind of hits you at the core for a few reasons. One, it tells you that you weren't prepared as much as you thought you were, that you weren't able to actively engage yourself in a degree of health and wellness to the point of being physically fit, actively in your recovery, and that something out of your control hits you. Now the problem with that is you can't control all those variables, athletes. Sometimes accidents happen, sometimes injuries occur, sometimes things come out of the woodwork and blindside you, and it hinders your ability to progress, thus making it almost a standard issue to not finish. But if you're not finishing because of fear or anxiety or doubt, that's a whole nother topic. But more often than not, DNFs are a result of an injury or something outside acting upon you. So to stay out of the victim mentality, we must understand where it came from. Could you have kept going with this? Should you have kept going with that? Those are the big questions. And more often than not, if you doubt yourself and you don't go to your full potential, that's that experience or that mindset that you get to carry with you all calendar year until you try it and attempt it again. So there's a lot of things that are in your control. Most DNFs occur because we get too much in our head and we overthink things. We get scared, we self-doubt. We see everybody else around us doing great and awesome, but yet we're slowing down and we're struggling. When we compare ourselves to other people, we get into the thick of things real fast. I had a friend that would get out and race and compete and challenge himself to be really kind of in the moment with these things. And then once he started noticing people passing him and people being faster, self-doubt would creep in, he would slow down, and he would ultimately stop receiving the dreaded did not finish. Now, the concept of what happened with him is very different than an outside experience, something injuring him, maybe a crash or a twisted ankle, or maybe a fall resulting in stitches. What he suffered from was a mental barrier. It was a mental DNF, meaning being defeated before he even realized or deeply understood the principle of, I am competing and racing against myself, nobody else. That's the beauty of what we do on Team AIIA to Athlete, specifically with that of running. You're not competing against anyone else but yourself. And so getting a DNF in that mindset is absolutely not appropriate. And in fact, I shun those who try to do that without the correct mindset of wanting to finish what they've started. It means that self-doubt, that fear, and that anxiety is so profound that they decided to take a knee and withdraw themselves from competition. It's the same principles that apply with your active recovery. If you're in sobriety and you're pursuing your recovery, yet you're holding on to your anxiety, your depression, your fear, and all those attributes that keep you stuck in your addiction, you're not ready. Go out and be the best addict you can be, but expect the consequences. But if you want to be an athlete and an individual in sobriety that's going to do what it takes and give everything you've got, despite the fear, the anxiety, the depression, all the stuff that came raining down on you in your active addiction, an athlete, take your mark. Because we're going to help you get to that destination. We're going to help your mind and your heart become one so that you're able to finish what you start. Now again, Having a mindset of giving up before you start is one thing. Having an injury or being the victim of an injury outside of that mindset is completely under your control. And those D.N.Fs are very understood. Thus, the concept of Coach Larry Gelwex talks about, which is the same concept of philosophy that Team Addict II Athlete adopts, which is on Team Addict II Athlete, we do not accept D.N.Fs or losses. We don't. On Team Addict II Athlete, just like Coach Larry Gelwex talks about, we do not accept loss. We do not accept D.N.F. Sounds kind of harsh when you look at it that way. But what it means, athletes, is that you didn't give it all you had. You didn't give it all you got. You left some in the tank because you allowed the fear and the worry and the anxiety to hold you back. You left it in the tank because you were worried that you wouldn't have enough left over just in case. You left the back door open. Now on Team Addict II Athlete, as Coach Larry Gelwex talks about, we understand if you get beat. If you get beat because of an outside force, an injury, a problem, something that happened outside in that we understand, we will 100% support you because there's always an opponent out there that's bigger, badder, faster, and stronger. And that makes total sense. So if you get beat, we understand. But if you lose, that's very different. And I think that mindset has to happen in both worlds of sport and addiction recovery. Because if not, athletes, you will lose the battle every time. You will self-doubt, you will worry, you will concern, and you will anxiety your way into failure and D.N.Fs in everything you do. Whether it be a race, whether it be a triathlon, whether it be a school, education, whether it be relationship, whatever, you will constantly and figuratively take a knee to the ultimate point of taking a knee in life and forfeiting your experience. To slap on that death certificate, a D.N.F. Athletes, be cautious, be aware that the principles that we teach on Team Addict II Athlete, that of becoming a world-class athlete, are the exact same principles you will use to become a world-class individual in recovery. Pursuing your sobriety in the mindset of finishing what you're starting and avoiding at all costs the issues that pertain to a D.N.F. will help you cross that finish line, will help get you engaged with an open mind and an open heart to line up for the next event. And despite all the crazy chaos that could happen in the middle of that event, to keep moving forward, to understand the difference between getting beat and taking a loss. Because ultimately, athletes, when you cross that finish line, there's yet another example of you being able to turn the mess of addiction to the message of sobriety.